Good morning students. This is a video for the students of class 8, subject science, chapter number 11, force and pressure. It's your lecture number 4. The topics to be covered in this lecture are pressure, applications of pressure, and pressure exerted by liquids. Pressure. So students, what is pressure? The amount of force acting per unit area of an object is called pressure. It means the force acting per unit area, means how much force is acting on the area of the object is called pressure. For example, when you push an iron nail into a wooden plank or into a wall, then here we apply pressure on the object. Here we apply pressure on the iron nail with our hammer. So this is pressure. So what is pressure? I repeat, the amount of force acting per unit area of an object is called pressure. Okay, this is the formula for calculating the pressure. Pressure is equal to force upon area, and the SI unit of pressure is Pascal, means the pressure is measured in Pascal, and we can say that the pressure is also measured in Newton per meter square. Why? Because the SI unit of force is Newton. As we know, the SI unit of force is Newton, and the unit of area is meter square. So the unit of pressure can be Newton per meter square. So the SI unit of pressure is Pascal or Newton per meter square. Means 1 Pascal is equal to 1 Newton per meter square. From this expression, we can say the pressure we are applying on an object depends on force as well as the area of contact of the object. Okay, means the pressure, it depends on two factors. First is force and second is area. So the expression for calculating pressure is equal to force upon area. From this expression, we conclude that if force increases, then pressure also increases. If force increases, then pressure also increases. And second factor is area. Area is in denominator. So if area increases, then pressure decreases. Okay. On increasing the area, the pressure decreases. Means larger the area of contact, lesser is the pressure exerted on a body. So pressure is depend on two factors. First is force and second is area. Applications of pressure. Now we will learn some applications of pressure. So have you ever seen your mother cutting vegetables? Carefully observe the knife. You will find that the sharp side of a knife is used to cut vegetables, and if you try to cut them from a blunt side, you will have to apply more force in comparison to the first situation. Why? Because the sharp side of the knife has less area. The sharp side of the knife has less area, so that they exert more pressure less area, so pressure will be more. This is the reason that we cut vegetables with the sharp knife, with the sharp side of a knife. So the first application is the cutting edges of knives blades are kept sharp to reduce area of contact. Okay, to reduce area of contact. And if area is less, then they exert more pressure. The pressure will be more. They exert more pressure on the surface to be cut. Okay, this is your first application of pressure. Second, camels can walk on sandy soil because they have broad feet. Have you ever think why the camels can walk on sandy soil? Why the camels can walk easily on sandy soil? Because the camels have broad feet that occupy more area. And if area is more, then pressure will be less. So, the broad feet occupy more area, hence reduce the pressure on the sand. So, this is the reason that the camels can walk on sandy soil easily. This is your second application of pressure. So, have you ever think that why the rear wheels of tractors are broader than the front wheels? So, the answer is the rear wheels of tractors are broader than the front wheels to reduce the pressure on the soil. Because if the area is large, then the pressure will be less. So, the rear wheels of tractors are broader to reduce the pressure on the soil, so that the tractor can move easily through the field. Fourth application is skis are flat and long because of the larger area of contact of the skis, that the pressure exerted on the snow is lesser because area is large, so pressure is less. Area is large, so the pressure will be less and the skis can slide without sinking into snow. I repeat, skis are flat and long because of the larger area of contact of the skis, that the pressure exerted on the snow is less and the skis can slide without sinking into snow. So these are some applications of pressure. Now we will see the another application of pressure. So have you ever think that why the potter place a round piece of cloth on their heads when they carry the heavy load? Why they place a round piece of cloth on their head when they carry the heavy load? So the reason is, by doing this, they increase the area of contact of the load which is on their head. Okay, they increase the area of contact of the load so that the pressure will be reduced. If area of contact is more, then pressure will be less. So they increase the area of contact of the load so that the pressure on their head is reduced and they can carry the load easily. Okay, this is the reason they place a round piece of cloth on their head. The reason is to reduce the pressure. Pressure exerted by liquids. You are aware of the fact that liquids do not have a definite shape, right? Liquids do not have a definite shape. Hence, the pressure exerted by them depends on the depth of the liquid. The pressure exerted by them depends on the depth of the liquid. And like solids, liquids also exert pressure. Okay, and liquid exert pressure not only at the base of the container but also on its sides. Okay, the liquids exert pressure also on its side. So, to understand it, let us perform some activities. Our first activity is to show that the pressure exerted by a liquid like water, the pressure exerted by a liquid at the base of a container depends upon the height of the liquid column. Means in this activity we try to show that the pressure exerted by all liquids depends upon the height of the liquid column. For that, take a glass tube that is open at both ends. Okay, take a glass tube that is open at both ends and fix a rubber balloon at one end of the tube. Then hold the glass tube with the balloon which is facing downwards. Okay, and put some water into it. Put some water into the glass tube. By doing this, you will observe that the balloon starts bulging outward. Okay, the balloon starts bulging outwards. Now pour some more water in the glass tube. But you will observe that the balloon bulges even more as the height of the water column increases. Means the balloon bulges even more as the height of the water column increases. When the height of the water column increases, the balloon bulges more. So, this proves that the pressure exerted by a liquid at the bottom of a container depends upon the height of the liquid column in it. Okay. But we conclude here that the pressure exerted by a liquid at the bottom of a container depends upon the height of the liquid column in it. So the conclusion is the pressure exerted by a liquid at the base of a container depends upon the height of the liquid column. Let's perform another activity. In this activity, we try to show that liquid exert the pressure on the walls of the container. Okay, to show that liquids exert the pressure on the walls of the container. And for that, take a plastic bottle. You can take a soft drink bottle, okay, and fix a few centimeter long cylindrical glass tube near to the bottom of this bottle. You can do so by slightly heating one end of the glass tube and then quickly inserting it near the bottom of the bottle, and make sure that the water does not leak from the point. Now cover the mouth of the glass tube with a thin rubber sheet as shown in this picture. And now fill the bottle up to half with water. Okay, fill the bottle up to half with water. Then the rubber sheet fixed to the glass tube bulge. Means you will observe that the rubber sheet fixed to the glass tube bulge. And why it bulges? Because of the pressure, that the pressure is exerted by the liquid on the walls of the container. And if you pour some more water in the bottle, then you will observe that the rubber sheet bulges more. Okay, the rubber sheet bulges more because pressure exerted by the liquid is more. So this shows that the liquid exerts pressure on the walls of the container. Okay, the liquid exerts pressure on the walls of the container. So from this activity, we conclude that a liquid exerts pressure on the walls of the container, because when we fill the bottle with water, then there is some pressure exerted by the liquid on the walls of the container, and because of that pressure the rubber sheet bulges. Okay, the rubber sheet which is fixed to glass tube bulges, and if we pour more water, then the rubber sheet bulges more. So this shows a liquid exerts pressure on the walls of the container. Now we do another activity to show that liquids exert the same pressure in all directions at a given depth. Means in this activity we tried to show that the liquid exerts equal pressure at the same depth. Okay, the liquid exerts equal pressure at the same depth, and for that take plastic container, or you can take a bottle, a plastic bottle, and make holes in it at the same height. Make holes in it at the same height. Now close the holes with sticky tape. Okay, close these holes with sticky tape. And now pour some water in the bottle and remove the sticky tape from these holes. Pour some water and remove the sticky tape from the holes. What you will observe that water comes out from all the holes with the same force and falls at the same distance. Okay, the water come out from all the holes with the same force and falls at the same distance. And if water comes out with same force, it means we can say the liquids exert the same pressure in all direction at the same depth. Okay, liquid exert same or equal pressure at the same depth. So by doing this activity, we conclude that the liquid exert the same pressure in all direction at a same depth. So students, this is your homework. These are some extra questions based on this lecture. Okay, question number 1 is define pressure. What is the unit of pressure? Okay, define pressure and what is the unit of pressure. Second question, write the formula for calculating pressure. Means you have to write the formula by which we can calculate pressure. Question number 3 is, a man exerts a pressure of 14 Pascal by applying a force of 70 Newton on a box. Calculate the area over which the force is applied. Okay, you have to calculate the area over which the force is applied. Pressure is given and force is also given to you. So you have to calculate the area. Question number 4 is give reason for the following. A part is it is easier to cut an apple with a sharp knife than a blunt one. Means you have to write the reason then why it is easier to cut an apple with a sharp knife than a blunt one. Okay. B part is skis are flat and long. Why? Okay, right reason. C part is tractors have broad rear tires. D part, camels walk on sandy soil easily. Means why the camels can walk on a sandy soil easily. So you have to write the reason in all these 4 parts. Now we will discuss the solution of lecture number 3. Question number 1 was which force is exerted by charged bodies? So the answer is electrostatic force. Electrostatic force is a force exerted by charged body on another charged or another uncharged body. Okay, and it is a type of non-contact force. Second question, what is the force exerted by a magnet called? So the answer is magnetic force. The force exerted by a magnet called magnetic force. Third question, name the force that opposes motion of a moving object. So the answer is frictional force. Frictional force is a force which arises due to contact between two surfaces, and the frictional force opposes the motion of a moving object, and it always acts opposite to the direction of motion of moving object. So the frictional force is the force that opposes motion of a moving object. Question number 4, which type of force is applied by a machine? So the answer is mechanical force. The force applied by all machines is mechanical force. Question number 5, name the force applied by the muscles of our body. So the force applied by the muscles of our body is called muscular force. The force exerted by our muscles is called muscular force. Muscular force is an example of contact force. Okay. Question number 6, distinguish between contact and non-contact forces. So the contact force, the force which act directly when two interacting objects are in physical contact with each other, are called contact force. Means when the two interacting bodies or when the two interacting objects are in physical contact with each other, then a force is experienced. That force is contact force. Okay, the force which acts when two interacting bodies or two interacting objects are in physical contact with each other. Next is non-contact force. It is opposite to contact force. The forces that act on a body without any physical contact with it are called non-contact forces. Means when the bodies are not in physical contact and even then the forces are acts on it, then that type of force are called non-contact forces. Okay, so this is the difference between the contact and non-contact forces. In contact force, there is a contact between the interacting objects, and in non-contact force, there is not any physical contact in between the objects. Question number 7. Distinguish between magnetic force and electrostatic force. As you already discussed, the magnetic force is the force exerted by a magnet on another magnet or object, and the electrostatic force is the force exerted by a charged body on another charged or uncharged body. Okay. The magnetic force and electrostatic force both are example of non-contact forces. Okay, these are the example of non-contact force. Question number 8. A part. The earth revolves around the sun due to gravitational force. Okay, all the planets revolve around the sun because of the gravitational force. Second part. An example of a contact force is, first option is magnetic force. No, magnetic force is a force exerted by a magnet. It is an example of non-contact force. So this is incorrect option. This option is wrong. Second option is electrostatic force. It is also an example of non-contact force. So this option is also wrong. Third option is gravitational force. Gravitational force is the force by which any object is attracted towards the earth. It is also a non-contact force. And the last option is frictional force. The frictional force is an example of contact force. Okay, the frictional force is an example of contact force, because a frictional force is a force that arises due to contact between two surfaces. Okay, the frictional force is a force that arises due to contact between two surfaces. So this is an example of contact force. So this ends for today's lecture. Thank you, students.